Ever since the return of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, it seems like Kishimoto's main objective is just to display how ridiculously overpowered Boruto truly is. Whether that be by Boruto dominating unlimited code, using Flying Thunder God, or by literally molding the planet's chakra into his Ransengan. These feats are absolutely insane, especially given the circumstances under which he had to train in order to get to this level. Even so, this isn't a Boruto wank video per se, since as the video title suggests, I still believe that this fight with Mitsuki will be closer than you might think. You see, this conclusion is mostly predicated on the multitude of statements implying that Mitsuki's Sage Mode isn't the run-of-the-mill Snake Sage Mode. It's beyond that. In fact, you could even call it a divine miracle. This of course brings us back to episode 64 when Urashiki extracted Mitsuki's chakra, thus preventing him from tapping into his Sage power. Now, this is important not only due to the actions taken by Urashiki, but also what he said afterwards, which is that Mitsuki's power was dangerous and he couldn't let him use it. So this statement by itself hard carries Mitsuki's Sage Mode by simply implying that it would be troublesome to Urashiki, Momoshiki, and Kinshiki. If that wasn't the case, Urashiki wouldn't have gone through such lengths to prevent him from fully tapping into that power. With that said, it doesn't necessarily end there, since Urashiki also then said that he has never seen chakra used like this before. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but Urashiki was sent as a scout used to gather information on the planet and its inhabitants. It's also stated that they were monitoring the planet and saw what happened on the moon with Toneri, so he should at least be aware of Sage Mode and how the ability is used. And even if you want to argue that it's possible that he is indeed referring to regular Sage Mode in this clip and he somehow didn't learn of it before, there's also the case of Momoshiki, where when he saw Naruto use Sage Mode for the first time, he wasn't shocked or confused by the nature of that power, neither was he afraid or concerned. So is it that Momoshiki just knows more than Urashiki, or is it possible that the process that Urashiki sensed occurring within Mitsuki's body was more than what naturally occurs within the body of a normal Sage Mode user? What if Mitsuki's Sage Mode was the first Baryon mode? You see, the mechanic behind Baryon mode is very similar to that of Sage Mode. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that they're basically the same thing with one key difference, which we'll get into later on. Now, if you go back to when this form was first introduced in Boruto's manga, Kurama said that we should think of it like nuclear fusion. It's similar to the principle of how the sun produces energy. He then went on to clarify that both his and Naruto's chakras are serving as kernels to produce this new type of energy. Now, if we then go back to Naruto's manga, the Toads, when explaining Sage Mode, said that it's all about the balance between mental, physical, and nature energy. If you don't manipulate those three together carefully, you can't produce Sage Jutsu chakra. And just to clarify one thing, mental energy and physical energy is what's used to create chakra itself. So in a sense, Naruto is just adding natural energy to the production of chakra, which then creates a new type of chakra. So similar to how Baryon mode chakra is created by molding Naruto's chakra, meaning Naruto's mental and physical energy, with Kurama's chakra, Senjutsu chakra is also created by molding Naruto's innate energies with nature energy. So now that we've established the similarities between these two forms, what's the difference? Why is Baryon mode seemingly stronger than Senjutsu? Well, the answer to that is heat, and by heat I mean extreme heat. You see, this all goes back to what nuclear fusion is, which in its simplest form is just when two or more atomic nuclei are combined to form one or more different atomic nuclei or subatomic particles. So in this case, the two or more atomic nuclei being combined would be Naruto's internal energies and nature energy, or Naruto's internal energies and Kurama's chakra. Then the subatomic particle created would be Senjutsu or Baryon mode chakra. But a key detail missing from this equation is heat. You see, in order to create this new subatomic particle, the materials used must be heated to very high temperatures and must also be kept under intense pressure, hence dense enough and confined for long enough in order to allow the nuclei to fuse. This is actually why objects are heated before undergoing the process of welding or any type of fusion. And this process also applies to Sage Mode, which is why you need enormous amounts of chakra in order to use it. The fusion process consumes your internal energies and nature energy in order to create Senjutsu, so it requires a lot of fuel to maintain that process, that fuel being one of the chakras. And this process is also the same for Baryon mode, by the way, but to an inordinate degree, to the point where, as Kurama puts it, my chakra and yours will get consumed until both or one of our lives run out. You can even see the steam emitting from Naruto's body when he first transformed, which later turned into red vapor. vapor. And pop quiz, what exactly does the red vapor remind you of? Of course, that would be the 8 gates of death used by Might Guy. Now, to put this into perspective so it makes more sense, it was revealed or later explained that the 8th gate or the last gate of death causes the body to continually heat up until it's been cooked from the inside out, reducing the user to ash. This extreme heat is what produces the power displayed by the form, similar to how heat is what produces the power displayed by Baryon mode, to the point where one of the chakras used in the process burns out completely, similar to the 8 gates. So in essence, all Kurama did was heat up their chakra to an extreme amount, way higher than the heat used to create senjutsu, which of course would be similar to how the 8th gate of death, which is referred to the last gate, heats up the chakra way higher than the prior 7 gates were capable of. Now at this point, you guys probably see where I'm going with this, right? To achieve Baryon mode Sage mode, all you would need to do is heat up your senjutsu chakra to the levels of the Baryon mode chakra displayed by Naruto and Kurama. It's really that simple. Now if I were you guys watching this video at this point in time, I would like first drop a like on the video and subscribe of course, but I would also be thinking about the fact that Mitsuki's Sage mode seemingly possesses the physical features of a certain entity, that entity being the Ten Tails itself. You see, this actually somewhat supplements the point of Mitsuki's Sage mode, somewhat adhering to the principles of Baryon mode, in that instead of Mitsuki just heating his regular Sage mode chakra to Baryon mode levels of heat, there's also another component at play, which of course is the genetics of the original Ten Tails. Now for full transparency, I did make a video about this topic over a year ago, so this isn't anything new for the day ones, but if you are new to the channel, this might be new for you, which in that case, enjoy, but if you have watched it and you want to skip along, the timestamps will be there as well. With that said, at surface level, we can see there's some similarities between Mitsuki and the Ten Tails, such as the dark cracks around his eyes running along his face and the horn in the middle of his forehead, which would be similar to that of the second form of the Ten Tails. So similar to how Naruto took on some of the physical aspects of Kurama with his transformation, the same thing happened with Mitsuki. Also note that Mitsuki's Sage mode is the only one that ever possessed a chakra cloak and ethereal snakes, which once again would be similar to the chakra cloak used by Baryon mode Naruto and the tails he's able to manipulate. So the two forms are similar both in concept and design. There's also this dialogue from Mitsuki's one-shot where Log states that the thing Orochimaru was looking for is the seed that served as our source material. He cultured it to create both of us. Now, if you guys weren't aware, Log is like a way older version of Mitsuki that was created by Orochimaru, which is why he said our source material. With that said, we later came to find out that this conflict itself was manufactured by Orochimaru in an effort to get Mitsuki to choose his own path. So you could just disregard this dialogue under that notion, but I do think that there's some truth behind what Log said regardless of the situation, especially since the anime specifically has repeatedly tied Orochimaru to the Ten Tails subplot, such as the episode where they discover the leftover blood of the Ten Tails, or the entire Victor's sub-story that heavily featured the artificial divine tree. These are not coincidences. Kishimoto is leading us down a very clear path. Now this then brings us to the negative effects of the Baryon mode chakra. Which chakra runs out first? Would it be Mitsuki's chakra or the natural energy? Now this part is kinda convoluted because we got two contradictory statements from Kurama explaining whose chakra is sacrificed for the usage of the form. He first told Naruto that he would definitely die if he used the form, then backed up that statement by saying that both of their chakras would get consumed until both or one of their lives runs out. Now the reason why this is confusing even to Naruto himself is because Kurama then later says that his life was the sacrifice for the Baryon mode form, not Naruto's. In fact, he knew for certain that Naruto would survive. He then explained that the reason why he didn't tell Naruto that his life was the sacrifice for the form is because Naruto wouldn't have sacrificed Kurama if he knew that he would live, which is true. So what this means is that Baryon mode doesn't take the life of the user. It's as if the form itself consumes the secondary chakra more than it does the chakra of the user themselves, which makes total sense since that would prolong the usage of the form. So in Baryon's Sage mode's case, which is a very cool name by the way, Naruto could theoretically extend the form by continuously absorbing natural energy, thus supplying an endless amount of secondary chakra to be consumed. Now with this we have two issues, right? First, Naruto needs to remain still in order to gather nature energy, and secondly, which is way more important, you need to have a balance between your mental, physical, and natural energy to produce senjutsu chakra. So how would there be a balance if his innate chakra is decreasing while he's just continuously resupplying natural energy? Wouldn't his internal chakra run out before the natural energy? And if he puts in more natural energy, wouldn't that offset the balance, thus not producing senjutsu chakra? Well, not necessarily. Now a lot of people are not aware of this, but Sage mode is absolutely broken. In the sense means that you can never get tired while using this form. So as explained by Fukusaku, unlike ninjutsu chakra where you progressively tire because you're using up your internal energy, with sage jutsu chakra you're continuously taking in natural energy from the outside. So not only do you not get tired, which is the key there, not to get tired, you'll recover and heal quicker too. So in essence, while in sage mode the user has infinite stamina in some sense. This is because even though you're using your physical and mental energy combined with natural energy to produce senjutsu chakra, it doesn't seem to require it once you've entered sage mode. You're able to maintain the form by continuously adding more natural energy, which is literally what the Toads did for Jiraiya. So while in sage mode, all you need to do is add more nature energy to maintain the form. What this then means is that unlike Kuruma's Baryon mode, which is limited by the fact that Kuruma's chakra is limited, Baryon's sage mode has an endless supply of natural energy to refuel its power, thus giving us an unlimited Baryon mode in some sense. Now Mitsuki, unlike Naruto, does possess the ability to passively absorb natural energy while he's moving. So it's going to be way easier for Mitsuki to maintain the form by passively absorbing natural energy. Even so, while you technically shouldn't get tired while using regular sage mode as stated by Fukusaku, Baryon sage mode might be a bit different due to the extreme levels of heat used in the fusion process, as I mentioned before. So that would explain why using this sage mode shortens Mitsuki's lifespan, damages his organs, and even makes him exhausted after using it. Though it is possible that Mitsuki no longer has this problem after the 3-year time skip by simply training his body to be able to contain that power, but we'll have to wait and see. So I say all of this to say that Mitsuki's sage mode is no joke, and we shouldn't underestimate what he would be able to accomplish in a battle versus Boruto. Now of course you could say that base Naruto is stronger than base Mitsuki and Kuruma's chakra is stronger than natural energy, so even if Mitsuki has a version of Baryon mode, it would be weaker than the one we saw, which is somewhat true. What I mean by that is that we don't know if current base Mitsuki is weaker than base Naruto, and Sage power was shown to be able to topple Kurama multiple times in the past, whether it was Sage Naruto or Sage Hashirama. So while I don't think that Mitsuki is near Baryon mode levels of power as yet, I don't think it's impossible for him to get there eventually. Now this is all irrelevant since Boruto also isn't Baryon mode levels of power as yet, at least based on what we've seen so far. Now in order to scale Boruto's current power level, we need to first understand the mechanic behind Code's strength, right? This makes perfect sense since based on what we saw in chapter 3 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Code simply wasn't a match for base Boruto, and just to clarify, this is base Boruto. Now we first saw this when Code tried a surprise attack from behind using the power of his claw marks, but Boruto was able to easily perceive his movements and dodge his attack. Not only that, Boruto was able to react to Code a second time using his sword when Code tried attacking him with his other hand. One thing to point out is that not only is this a speed feat, but also a showing of physical strength since Boruto was able to hold off Code's attack with one hand. Now we should also know that Boruto wasn't using his karma seal and neither was Code at that time. That later changed after the effects of Ransengan Uzihiko started to spread across Code's body, which caused him to panic. Though even after activating his karma seal, Code wasn't able to land a single hit on base Boruto. No matter what he tried, Boruto just kept moving away from him. Now this part is more so ability based since it's either due to the effects of Ransengan Uzihiko or Boruto spamming Flying Thunder God. What we can link to Boruto's pure physical prowess is when he landed his Rasengan on Code. That's because even though Boruto likely teleported behind him using Flying Thunder God, Code simply wasn't able to react to Boruto, similar to how Sage Madara was able to react to Tobirama when he tried to attack him from behind using Flying Raijin. What this then proved is that even though Flying Thunder God provides you with instant teleportation, someone can still react to your activation speed or spawn speed if they are fast enough. And not only did Boruto stand behind Code before attacking him, Code saw him, yet he still was unable to block or dodge. This simply means that Boruto in base form is faster than unlimited Code using his karma seal. Now this doesn't mean that Boruto is physically stronger than Code, since as I pointed out in my video about Daemon, being faster doesn't necessarily equate to you being stronger physically. However, it is more likely that Boruto is indeed also physically stronger than Code, rather than this just being an amp in physical speed alone. Now I say this because Boruto in base was able to block and easily dodge an attack from Code, who had the intent to kill. This means that base Boruto is at least physically stronger than base Code. And in addition to this, Boruto and Kawaki are at least somewhat relative in this time skip period per their battle atop the Okage monument, and also per shonen logic of course. So this means that Boruto's physical strength needs to scale to or somewhat near Ishiki levels to match Kawaki, who is likely as strong or somewhat near Ishiki levels due to having Ishiki's karma seal. By the way, this increase in power for Kawaki to Ishiki level or near Ishiki is also shown by Kawaki possessing all 8 triangles of Ishiki's dojutsu, as opposed to the 4 triangles he could manifest pre-timeskip. Now this part can get a bit convoluted since Kawaki only had 80% of Ishiki's data before the karma seal was removed, and the new karma he received contains the data of Amado's daughter, not Ishiki. So technically speaking, Kawaki can never be as strong as Ishiki purely based on what he got from the karma, even though Code said he was full Otsutsuki for some reason. Either way, Code also does possess Ishiki's karma seal, but he was never Otsutsukified similar to Kawaki and Boruto, which means he can't fully channel Ishiki's true power. Now I say this because we can clearly see an increase in power or access to power the more Otsutsuki Boruto and Kawaki became. They even show this in their physical appearance by them having more power when they physically transformed into versions of their Otsutsuki counterparts. In fact, Boruto outright stated that he could channel Momoshiki's power better after becoming 100% Otsutsuki. So I think there is sufficient evidence to suggest that Code, who couldn't become Otsutsukified, doesn't have access to the same levels of power Kawaki does, even though they both have Ishiki's karma seal. By the way, it's outright stated by Shikamaru that Unlimited Code's power caps at somewhere above Jigen, but should still be below Ishiki Otsutsuki's. Now obviously Shikamaru wouldn't just make a baseless statement like this, knowing that Code has Ishiki's karma seal. So Amado most likely informed him of this, as he did with the fact that Code's power exceeded Jigen. Now to be fair, there's some confusion around the above Jigen below Ishiki scaling, so let me just clarify it right here. And similar to the Mitsuki stuff, I did cover this in my prior video about Boruto being stronger than you think, so if you guys have seen it before, you can just skip over it if you want, but if you haven't, this is really important for you to understand, so it can kind of make more sense why Boruto scales above Jigen but still below Ishiki. Now think of it like an hypothetical scale from 1 to 10. Jigen's power caps at a 4 and Ishiki's power caps at level 10, right? You can disagree with the gap and make it a little bit closer, but Amado stated that Ishiki's power greatly surpassed Jigen, because again, Jigen was a vessel and also couldn't handle Ishiki's full power. With that said, let's say Jigen is indeed a 4 and Ishiki is a 10, right? That means that Unlimited Code, who exceeded Jigen, will be around a 5 or 6, since he's also stated to be less powerful than Ishiki. Then we have the character known as Damon, who is also one of the cyborgs stated to be above Jigen. Now this one is a bit more malleable since it's never directly stated that he's not Ishiki level, just that he surpassed Jigen. What we can confirm is that he's above Code, who is also above Jigen but stated to be below Ishiki. This was shown when Damon was able to react to all of Code's attacks. He was also able to blitz him and shown to be far superior in physical strength. Not only that, Damon himself confirmed that he didn't go all out when he told Boruto to get stronger so that he can fight him at full power for the first time in his life. This simply means that Damon, while holding back, is far stronger than Unlimited Code while he's going all out with the intent to kill. With that in mind, if you still think Damon is below Ishiki level, he would either be an 8 or 9 on the scale of power as opposed to a 5 or 6 that Code occupies. So there's really nothing contradictory to both these characters being below Ishiki yet still being above Jigen at the same time. What this then does is put Boruto's earlier feats into perspective. If Boruto needs to scale to Kawaki, who is Ishiki's perfect vessel and was stated to be Wholly Otsutsuki, it is likely that he can still scale to Ishiki levels of power, somewhere near it or even above it. So if current Boruto is shown to be faster than Unlimited Code while he's in base, that simply means that base Boruto is faster than Code, thus scaling above both Code and Jigen. Now note that I keep pointing out that Boruto is in base, not Boruto using Karma stage 1, 2 or 3. Just Boruto in base, right? Now when you then add Boruto using the Karma Seal's power increments, you get a totally different beast. We have to remember that Boruto's Karma possesses the power of Fused Momoshiki, since that's the version of Momoshiki who gave Boruto the Karma Seal. That simply means that at its highest state, Boruto receives a Fused Momoshiki amp when using the Karma Seal's power. So even if we assume that Sage Mitsuki is above Jigen level at this point, he would only be able to match base Boruto, who is also above Jigen. Adding the Karma Seal to the mix, which I don't think will happen since he did do it for the Shinju or Code, would likely result in a low diff. Oh, and by the way, a Fused Momoshiki amp is like 3 tiers below a Jigen amp, and you can see that by simply watching their battles with Naruto and Sasuke, right? Jigen's power just far exceeds Momoshiki's. So when Boruto enters the Karma state, it's not like he's getting a Jigen level amp, it's more so a less than full power 6-path Sage mode Naruto amp, since that version of Naruto is indeed more powerful than Fused Momoshiki per all 3 continuities. Now there is another issue that might make this a bit more convoluted or confusing, which is how much of Momoshiki's power is Boruto actively using while he's in base. We have to once again remember that Boruto is now 100% Otsutsuki, and he's also merged with the Karma Seal's data itself due to Momoshiki repairing his organs. This of course led to Boruto saying that he can now channel Momoshiki's power better, and even showed this by being able to block attacks from a Karma amped Kawaki while he's in base. So base Boruto isn't really the base Boruto who existed prior to his reconstruction, and the line between how strong he is with or without the Karma Seal fully active might have been blurred a bit. With that said, I still think Boruto has the edge over Mitsuki with his Karma Seal active. The real question is, what does a base Boruto versus Sage Mitsuki look like? Which is all I think we're going to get. Now we did get a brief stint of this with Boruto dodging Mitsuki's snakes and destroying some of them using his sword cloaked in purple lightning, which shows that Boruto can at least react to Mitsuki's ethereal snakes. Now some people have used this to judge Mitsuki's overall speed and physical strength, which doesn't really make sense since the speed of the snakes doesn't necessarily equate to the reaction or combat speed of Mitsuki himself. And yes, I am fully aware that Mitsuki did tell Sarada that he can't control his strength, but that doesn't really negate what I said before, since for one, speed is not the same as strength, and again, the speed of the snakes doesn't necessarily indicate the full speed of Mitsuki himself. Now I was gonna bring up the fact that Mitsuki got to Boruto's location almost immediately, even though Boruto flew and he ran, but there's no way to really tell if Boruto was flying as fast as he could, so we would just be making assumptions. In essence, we haven't really seen a single thing as yet aside from Boruto saying that he'll need to get a little rough with Mitsuki, which doesn't really mean much since Boruto has no idea what Mitsuki is capable of or what he can become capable of during battle, right? So I just think that they've been hyping this up for a very long time since part 1 in both the anime and manga, so to think that this fight will just be a 2-page low diff is pretty ridiculous to me. With that said, that's it for me. Let me know your thoughts on Boruto versus Mitsuki. I was trying to keep it short, but I wanted to make it make sense to kind of go into the specifics on Boruto's scaling, and I kind of wandered off into the Mitsuki theory aspect with the Baryon mode stuff, but I think it's relevant because that's why I think this fight won't be as quick as people think it will be, right? Now I might be wrong and that's fine if I am, we'll see, but I think it would make more sense for Mitsuki to put up a challenge at least against base Boruto, because I don't think Boruto will be using the Karma Seal if my theory is correct, okay? So let me know your thoughts on it, drop a like if you like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.